Hello, this is Orithro, and today I will be explaining the code base and what is basically Alpona-Gen, which is one of the projects that I have. As always, the projects are on my GitHub public. The links will be in the description. If you want to contact me regarding these projects, they are also the contact methods are on my website. That will be also be linked below. Other contact methods will also be linked below. All right. So this is the code base, very simple. This is basically a exe which you can run to kind of get a GUI running and showing you all the Alponas that have been generated. To get a brief overview, what is an Alpona? This is an Alpona. It's a Bengali form of what the other Indians might know as Rangoli. It's a form of artwork that is done on the ground with white powder. And the ground is usually in the rural areas in this color. So the brown is the default color that I have taken in this project. And also the contrast goes really nice. So the basic logic behind this project is that if you look at this pattern very carefully, these are concentric circles. There are many circles, one, two, three, four, five. You can count them and you can set them as well. How many circles are there? These are some of the arguments that you can take. This is basically what's the resolution of the image that you want. The generation of the image is done using Pygame. It's a very convenient library in Python to do these things. Directories and all can be set as well. There's a GUI as well, which runs through the exe, or you can run it via Python if you're on Linux or Mac. So this is the code generation logic, and it's version tagged as well. We have made this as a modular thing, and the reason behind doing that is the entire idea of generating this Alponas are implicitly related to the concentric circuits. So basically, my goal here, and this is how I did it, is making these concentric circles first, and then for each of the circles, I choose what style to fill between that and the next circle. So for I and I plus 1th circles, there is a concentric layer. I want to fill it with some layer style. So I choose that. In the choosing, there is a little bit of bias. Why bias, you say? So if you are randomly choosing, we might end up with this. If you look at this layer, which has a lot of white and a little bit of brown, we might end up with that, again that, again that, again that. So what will happen is our design will become more white and less brown, and it will look like a fill circle, which is not an alpona, which is not a pattern, right? So it will start looking like a circle that has been painted white. So we differentiate between the layers. Like this layer is a sparse layer, this is a sparse layer, this is a sparse layer, this is a sparse layer. So every time we choose a dark layer, we drive our random algorithm to have a kind of a lower threshold so that the chance of picking a sparser layer is more. So we have currently two stages, a thick layer and a sparse layer. That is how the algorithm works. The layer styles.py is sort of like a dictionary. Here we have all these different layers. You can say this explaining from this is really difficult. This is just geometry. It was done on my notebook and just translated into programs. So you have these different styles. So what these styles do is basically they are methods in a dictionary. So when the program decides that okay, I want to pick a sparse layer, it takes from the library this method. It's basically paintbrush and a color. It paints the I and I plus one circle layer using one of the functions that it has chosen, and we are done with it. This is how the entire generation works. The motivation behind this project, I should explain, because otherwise it kind of seems pointless, is because I wanted to train GAN, generative adversarial networks, to generate Alponas. I did not get a good dataset online of Alponas, and the ones that I had were quite poor, and they were of Rangoli, but they were also very poor. Some of them had awkward camera angles. Some of them had people in them. I just wanted a top shot of the Alpona because that's the best way to depict one pattern in the ground like that. So that was the motivation. So I decided to generate. Now the Kaggle dataset corresponding to this repository. You just want the dataset. Yeah, it has I think 13,000 images of Alpona. I need to check if it is 13,000. Yeah, 13,000 mathematically generated Alpana images. I forgot how many there is. So there are two versions. Output one is very more, much more dynamic. Output is a little less dynamic. So the layers are filled that way. If the main reason why I wanted to share this repository in detail with everybody is that if you are someone who is artistically much more skilled than I am not at all skilled when it comes to art. But if you have the skill, you may add more functions like this and add them correspondingly in the generator function. The generation logic is done. It drives the algorithm correctly. It has all the correct things that way. Here, there's a large array where the layers are added. Yep. These are the fill styles and outline. Outline is the spare styles I referred earlier, and filled is the thick styles which cover more white, less brown. Outline styles is more brown, less white. This is an easy way to remember which one is which. So if you get an layer style, and if you have like an idea that it falls in the fill style category or it falls in the outline styles category, you add them accordingly here. You may remove the layers that are present here or add your custom ones or keep them as you wish. And you may generate your own Alpana images. And if you wish to add that to my dataset, you are free to do so. If you manage to add colored nature in the logic instead of just white and brown, if you add colors, okay, then you can potentially have a Rangoli dataset, which is different from the Alpona dataset. It will be wonderful. So this project is basically, again, an abstract pattern generated in concentric circles. If you think of it, if you just change the layer styles.py, you may have some different art style from a different place that is native to another place. So if you're watching this and you have a form of art style in your culture, let's say if you're from some other part of India and you have Rangoli, you have something else, some other name which has a different layer style. So if you can map it down to concentric circles and layers, you can fill it. Now, as with all projects, I discuss something about future work. In this, a future work that can be done is something. There is some a design called Kolki, which is basically, if I manage to show you what it looks like. Yeah, give me a second. If we take this, this is what a Kolki looks like. For those of you who are watching this and understand English, this is what I think is called a paisley. Paisley, a paisley shape. So many Alponas and Rangolis feature the paisley shape, which is a little difficult and there's a lot of Bezier curves involved. I tried generating some of them. Not all of them were good and dynamic. Basically, I wanted one paisley up here, one paisley up here, sort of yin and symbol, and then draw circles inside each of those paisleys and fill them out with these styles. That would look really wonderful, but that was a challenge I faced. So that is in the future works. Apart from it, I need to realize the real motivation behind doing this. That is to generate GNs and other generative models. Let's say even stable diffusion models on these to generate the alpons. So that is all for this project. If you want to contribute to it, there are clear instructions. The pretty standard README here. If you want to contribute to this, feel free to do pull request. If you want to contribute on Kaggle or provide some feedback, you can feel free to do so. If you want to contact me regarding any of these projects or other projects on my GitHub profile, please go to my homepage link below and contact me from there. If you have something else in mind, hit me on LinkedIn. Just drop a text or drop a connection. I will be more than happy to hear about what you have to say regarding my projects. That is all for this.